Did you hear
Good to
that?
know. Yes.
Nice.
Good to
We're
know.
yeah. I guess you can't like sneak it up on someone like in an interview. You can't like just start recording it.
Just be like,
Um
"Hey, for all the other interviews, this is
yeah,
what they ask."
yeah, yeah. Interviews. Who's doing those? Dang, so dude, congrats. 2 years of COVID,
Yes,
but
all in,
it's
done.
over now. It's over.
We have a master's now, right?
Yeah, yeah. COVID's done.
Yeah,
COVID's over now that Ukraine is happening. So
yeah, yeah. That's
yeah, it's crazy. But California doesn't want to give up on the mandates and the COVID. And dude, I haven't even okay, people wear masks in Texas like randomly. Like I'll be like, oh, there's a mask person. Like it's crazy, like 1 in 100 maybe. And like that's cool, but like it's not like in your face like California.
yeah. No, dude, we just took whiskey to the vet on Thursday, and we can't even walk into the vet's office without a mask.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's still like certain places are still. I say I get it. I don't get it, but like I get it because it's like medical and
Yeah.
that's part of their ruling. But when you walk next door, and I don't know, that it's still silly to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, they don't want to let go of anything. The Some schools took masks off, so they took the mandates off of masks.
I heard that.
So
It was this last week, right? Monday?
it
Or
was
no,
2 weeks
next Monday.
ago.
Oh,
It was
2 weeks.
well, so every school is different. So for Ella's school, they took it off 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So she's been without a mask for 2 weeks, but there's still teachers wearing masks, and there's still there's still students wearing masks,
Sure. Yeah.
and there's
Yeah.
still students saying that they want to sit in certain areas away from people that don't
Um,
have masks. So
that's parents being like, hey, if there's kids like not wearing masks, don't sit by them. Like
oh, for sure.
the kids aren't gonna just be like, I mean, I hope a kid isn't like, I don't want to sit by that kid, like on their own like thought process because they're not wearing a mask. Like I hope they're not like that.
And you don't know which one is worse, right? Is it the kid being
They're
just
both
young
bad.
and naive, right? And I mean, that sucks. But
Yeah.
then is it the parents that are forcing the kid? You almost want to say it's the parents forcing the kid so that way the kid can grow up to have their own ideas. But at the same time, you're like, oh, well, the parents forcing the kids, that's not good either. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess it's lose lose. So
But it's okay because kids can now like get the vaccine without their parents anyway, right?
yeah, yeah, dude. So that's like, I don't even understand that.
Is that
I
so?
think we are going to be the only state that tries to push that. It seems like it's going to
So
go
that's
as far as it
proposed.
can.
Is it
What's that?
that's proposed, right? Like
It's
because we talked
proposed.
about,
I
yeah,
think it's going to go as far as it can, and then I think it'll get chopped right before.
yeah. But that's
Uh,
scary that it's even like on the drawing board or like even going to be talked about.
and who knows? Maybe it does go through. I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised.
that just layers in things for later on. Like, then you talk about abortions without parental consent, and then anything and everything under the sun.
Any medical procedure, like you've always had to be 18 to like basically consent for yourself. Like we work in an industry where like you got to sign a contract. We don't do contracts for people that are under 18 because you can't legally do it. You have to be 18 to have a bank account. Even if you
Yep.
work at 16,
Yeah.
you have to be 18 to have a bank account because you can't sign the contract.
Yep.
So that's crazy. That's
But yeah, you'll be able to 12 to 17. You'll be able to get vaccinated without parental consent. And then there
for
are certain
experimental.
for an experimental vaccine. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are certain areas that are saying that if you send your child to school, you are consenting if
Oh,
they have a vaccination site on campus, that you are consenting by sending them to school, you are consenting to the vaccine. So
my
there's a
God.
lot of people going homeschool. There's a lot of people, just huge mass exodus from California. There's a
Yeah.
lot of changes. And I don't see it getting better anytime soon. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, California, the weather is it's good, but I mean, it's pretty sunny out. It's nice other places too.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
So
just hard
that's
it's hard to
it,
justify it.
well, at this point, you can't really justify it now, right? I mean, you've got whether it's inflation or housing prices, and housing prices are crazy all over the country, but it's the worst in San Diego, California. It's the
Rent.
worst taxes.
Yeah.
It's, you just compound everything that is already bad everywhere, but then you tax it like crazy. And then, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with the we could stay on the bills and everything, but like with the gas tax that California imposes, it goes up every year. Like people don't even realize when I think we talked about it on a previous podcast, but like
Yeah.
when you literally cross the state line to Arizona, like you could be 1 minute away from a gas station and over here 1 minute away in Arizona, it goes up or it goes down if you're going into Arizona $1
Yep.
because $1 of the gas is tax.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's so bad. And then, now they're talking about potentially halting the gas tax in California for the time being.
I didn't hear that.
But
Okay.
they're not talking about increasing the mileage tax. So now it's a sneaky way to
Yeah.
go, okay, we're just going to do a mileage tax and that'll be cheaper for now
Yeah. Until they raise it.
until they raise it, right? And then that's already in.
They want to get it passed and then they could just raise everything.
Oh yeah, once, dude, it's
Don't
not going
forget
to get any
about,
better.
don't forget about the savings tax. So like if you're able to save money,
Not in California.
yeah,
You
then
can't. But if you're able to, yeah,
yeah, if you found a way to save money in California and then you have that to, safety net, whatever, like, then it's taxed.
yeah.
So
So everything's taxed in, out, the whole nine.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
it's none of it makes it easy
yeah.
to grow any type of like financial future, any type of um, raising kids or anything like that, setting your kids up for success in the future. It's
Did you
California is not the place.
did you see that article where it was like, oh man, it was on Instagram today. It was like maybe millennials just need to like wait for their inheritance or something, to be able to live in a house. Or did you see that?
No, but the thing with that is in the last election, what we did, or for not the election, um, as we were voting on all of these bills
Yeah,
2 Novembers ago,
yeah,
everything that was in there for housing was, okay, if you inherit this, there's an inheritance tax, and then there's, so you're almost, I mean, I got to give it to California you got to give it to them. They're
they're creative.
geniuses
Yeah,
when they
yeah,
come into this, because they're whatever we're dealing with right now, they've already fixed the back end.
they're
They've
two
already said,
steps
okay, you're
ahead.
going to inherit it. Well, there's going to be an inheritance tax, and oh, you're going to do this. Oh, you're going to gift somebody money. Oh, there's a tax on that, and oh, you're going to do this. There's a tax on that, and
Yep.
they've already fixed it on the back end. So good for them lining their pockets, but
Yeah,
not a easy state to be a part of when you're
yeah. The caption
going
was like,
through life.
the caption was like, oh great, I'll just wait for my parents to pass away, or like I'll just hope for them to like pass away. I'm
Yeah,
like, cool.
that's a good way to look at things.
Yeah, yeah, because we can't afford it. It's crazy.
Yeah, and then I mean, with gas and everything now, they're just saying like, oh, just go and buy an electric vehicle.
Yeah,
Just go and buy that.
yeah.
Except, there
Except
was
the grid can't handle everyone having electric vehicles anyway.
well,
So
the grid can't handle it, and then there was this whole article that came out, and obviously there's more research to be done on it, but they were saying, hey, as you build all of these batteries and as you build all of these cars, all of the material and everything that you need for it, chemicals, materials,
worse.
all of that.
It's worse.
Not only is it worse, but you're talking about Russia owning or producing 5% of the oil, and that's bad. We gotta take away production from them.
Yeah.
but then not realizing how much of these raw materials that are going to go into these batteries are produced in China.
Mhm.
It's like 100% almost.
Yeah.
And so then you're robbing one to pay the other. It's like, what's really
Yeah.
the
Well, if you want to talk 100%, we could go back 2 years to where we were 100% energy independent. I mean, I honestly look back because I like personally, I just like keep a journal about just like current events. I started it before COVID, but it got weird during COVID because it's just like
dude,
some of it doesn't,
that's gonna be a history book in the future.
dude, for real. Like some of it doesn't seem real. Like I posted on my story the other day. I was like, I forgot about this. But like when they gave us like that paper that said like, here, if you get pulled over, like you were
You're
an
good to be
accessible
at
employee.
work.
Yeah. And we
Yeah.
were at the club when cops roll by, they're like, what are you doing here? Like, what are you doing out? And it's just like, what the hell? But anyways, like when Biden first took office, the very first thing he did was close the pipeline. And I remember the
Within a month, maybe it was 2 months, but within a
yeah.
month or 2 months of that, he extended
Mhm.
the Russian pipeline.
Yeah. And the thing people don't realize is people are like, oh, well, energy or, like earth, this, we're saving the earth. It's like, it's coming either way. It doesn't matter. Like we're still using the same amount. And like, they were like, oh, well, these, Republicans are just complaining about like these few jobs that were laid off. They can find other jobs. Like I remember people posting about it.
Yeah, just go and find another job
Yeah.
in, EV. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. So we've got what, 80,000 jobs that
Yeah.
we're now trying to find less jobs for.
Yeah. And they said that they said that the prices were going up before Russia. Yeah, they were after they closed the pipeline. And then on this podcast I was listening to, it was talking about how they keep trying to like either blame Russia for gas prices or blame, they're like, oh, there's these 9,000 permits that are unused or whatever. Like there's 9,000 permits that they won't approve for this, that, and the other reason, because it's not just the permit that you need. It's like these other 50 things that the
Right.
government will issue for it. It's like,
Right. So now you take that and you go back to, let's just go back to that supply chain issue we had a couple months ago,
yeah,
right?
we're
And now
still
you're
in it. We're still,
still in it, but it was when it was bad, when there were a couple hundred boats off the coast, you're just literally just sitting there, not having anything come in. And everybody's, including Newsom and everybody, they're like, oh, well, we can't do this because, and we can't do this because, and, and then you've got other states that are like, hey, everything's open, just deliver it. We'll take care of it if you guys can't handle it. I think that's basically going to be the next piece. There's going to be other people that are going to step up and say like, hey, if you can't do this, then we're just going to create this, whether obviously it can't be like a pipeline, but
right.
something where they're importing and being able to cut prices. I mean,
Self-sustain. Yeah.
self-sustained. California could have cut the prices when this whole thing started.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just, hey, okay, look, we got to cut the tax.
instead
And
of instead of printing, like I'm not, I mean, I actually am slightly embarrassed that like I got unemployment, but at the same time, like everyone kind of got unemployment, but like the amount of unemployment they were sending us was ridiculous, like off the charts. People were just blowing it. And then there was the people who got the unemployment, were still working, got extra money, like all that, like whatever. Like instead of like
only in California,
yeah,
maybe not.
instead of sending checks, like you could reduce the cost and reduce like the burden of cost for the average person to where they're like, I actually could live below my means, but that's not their goal. They want you to continue consuming
Yeah.
and then, be, I don't know, just broke, I guess.
Anytime you have the ability to have extra money and to think for yourself and to figure out where that money is going to go,
You have freedom.
it's more freedom.
Yeah.
And then that creates more instability for the government.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So
So
independent.
yeah. And so then you take that and then you couple that with like the housing market,
Mhm.
right? And then you wonder why are all of these uh, like government agencies buying houses
Mhm.
and just walking in and paying 100 grand over asking and buying houses. And it seems, they layer it in with, oh, it's for, some of these are for homeless shelters and
Like,
some of this is for this. That's
yeah,
just weird. Why would the government be buying houses
like
at,
BlackRock. Is that what
yeah,
you're talking about? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but why are they buying it at, first of all, why are they buying it in general?
Yeah.
Secondly, why are they buying so many? And third, why are they just walking in cash offer saying 100 grand over, just take it? And
Where's this money coming from? They're just
none of it
printing.
makes
They're
sense.
just
Yeah.
printing.
Yeah. They're just printing it.
So
Um,
yeah, something I was thinking about, because they've been talking, and you have your real estate background and where you took your, the classes and everything, but they're saying like, oh, well, we're gonna increase interest rates. Like, okay,
yeah.
and they're like, that's gonna bring the prices down. Like, I feel like I don't know that much about it, but I feel like that doesn't necessarily correlate or connect
It
exactly.
doesn't. So when you have a house that, let's just raw numbers, right? And
Yeah.
obviously everybody's going to be a little bit different in terms of what their credit interest rate is and what the market's doing. But
Right.
just as an example, if you went in about a $500,000 house at let's just say a 3% interest rate,
Right.
and then that dropped to $400,000 the next year, but it went up to a 4% interest rate, you were better off spending the extra 100 grand at a lower interest rate
Yeah. Yeah.
because your payment is cheaper. So even
Right.
though the house is cheaper, your mortgage is more expensive.
In the long run, like when we just bought our place, round numbers, whatever, like basically even at a low interest rate, we're ending up paying on that loan like 80%.
Yeah,
So it's like and that's
over the
a
course of 30 years.
over the course of 30
And
years.
that's normal.
Yeah.
That's completely normal.
Yeah.
You look at you look at a house that, let's just stick with the 500 grand,
Yeah.
you're probably looking at buying a $500,000 house. You're actually paying probably 900,000 for it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
people don't realize that, but they think, oh, it's just this amount of money going towards interest and just this amount of money going towards interest. But what it'll do is it'll actually give you an entire amount that you're paying when you go to sign that loan.
Yeah. Yeah.
What most people do is they see the sticker price of the house and they see what their mortgage payment is and they say, cool, I can afford this and it's going to increase in value over time,
Yeah.
historically.
Yeah.
But obviously it may or may not increase. I mean, everything, there's no guarantee for anything.
Right.
But number two is, depending on what your plan is, you may have to be in that home longer in order to get it
Mhm.
to increase in value to be able to sell it.
Yeah.
Then what are your selling fees?
Yeah.
If you sell a $500,000 house, you're probably paying upwards of 30, 40 grand in closing costs and all of that.
Yeah.
So how much more do you have to be in the green in order to pay for that? And then does it make sense? And
Yeah.
so I think that, unfortunately, a lot of people don't necessarily know that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of paperwork when buying a house. So
Yeah.
I think people just like skip, hey, okay,
I'm excited. That's
what's
yeah.
my payment at the end of the day? How much do I pay in taxes and what do I do? And I'm good.
Yeah. That was the thing I was thinking about too, like just all the little parts of it. Cause what they're saying is like, okay, we're going to raise interest rates. And, if you look back, I was talking to Adam, and he was saying that interest rates used to be like 15%, which is crazy. Like you can't
Like
even
25 years ago, they were like
yeah,
15.
yeah. Which is
And if
like,
you could get, it was really good if you could get like a 7% interest
yeah,
rate.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
oh my gosh, this is amazing.
yeah,
Think about that, right? That's double where we're at right now. So if you're almost doubling the price of your home, almost, not quite, but almost doubling the price of your home
yeah.
at around 3%, then
Mhm.
you're over doubling, obviously, the price of your home at 7%. Think about
Yeah.
15.
Yeah.
And then you think about, okay, well, that was where the market was then. And then you think about back in 2008 when the market crashed and all of these things happened with balloon payments and
Yeah.
now what are we going to do? Like, what's the next move?
Adjustable mortgages or
Adjustable
whatever. Yeah.
mortgages
Yeah.
and yeah, your mortgage is only your mortgage should be $3,000, but we're only going to charge you $1,500 for the first 5 years.
Oh
And then
man.
everybody's like, oh, I
So
can afford it. I
sketchy.
can afford
Yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
then at 5 years, they're like, oh, well, your mortgage is $13,000 a month. And they're like,
Wait a
what?
second. Yeah. Yeah.
Why? I can't afford that. And they're like, well, but you agreed to it.
Fine to it. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
then everybody, yeah. So it's,
But
I
like
don't know.
supply and demand. So like, I mean, let's crazy, this would be crazy if interest rates went to 8%,
Mhm.
So to me, that would mean like, hey, I'm gonna take a second look at that home if the interest rate is 8%. And interest rates are pretty standard across the country. So, 8% in California is definitely less desirable than 8% in, Texas, Florida, one of those states where it's like, maybe that does bring the cost down. Like maybe $1 million home in California is now like someone only wants to pay 800 because it's a buyer's market or whatever. But 8% on 800 is a lot compared to like 8% on 400, you know?
Right.
So, man, I just can't.
It's not, everybody is like, oh, it's gonna get worse, and not to be pessimistic, but I don't see California getting any better.
Yeah.
The market here is insane. We've got
Insane.
you grew up in the area in Allied Gardens.
Mhm.
There's a house there. It's a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house,
I know exactly which one. Yeah.
1,200 square feet. It's $850,000.
Yeah.
That's the sticker price. Now, of course, San Diego being San Diego, that thing's going to go for well over sticker. It's
Yeah.
not a nice house. It's not the worst house on that I've
Yeah.
ever seen. So, I'll start there. But, when you're 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, that's not a desirable house to be in anyway, right?
Right. Right.
You're less than 1,500 square feet.
And
That's
it's 20
relatively
years old.
small.
Yeah. Yeah. And the age of the home,
And the age, I mean, I don't want to be wrong. It's either the
let's say like
50s or
70s.
60s,
Yeah. Yeah.
but those are tiny homes, and they're all compacted together. And you're talking ballpark $1 million. Come on.
The one Adam just sold was, I think he listed it at, what did he list it at? 1.1, and it sold for like 1.5.
That's
Like, yeah, it's
yeah.
it's crazy. And he said that, did you see his post?
No, not that one.
It was like, he said that someone from like South Africa, like a prince in South Africa, like, sounds like a scam, but like,
Oh, did they wire the money?
yeah, we need you to
Did
send
Adam have to put
10,000.
the money up first?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We need to send you 10. We need you to send us 10,000 so we can release 10 million.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, man, it's crazy. I can't see. I mean, Chelsea and I have talked, and I can see going back to California if it gets better. But
Yeah.
it's hard to ever be like, I don't know, I'll visit. I'll buy a plane ticket, even though jet fuel prices are gonna go up.
Oh my
Like,
God, that's gonna be bad. But
this is
yeah, I mean,
tied into the housing market. Like, I don't see prices coming down. That was my point, because everything has to be shipped. Lumber. So the cost
yeah.
of lumber is going to go up because everything is shipped by fuel.
Well,
Train,
now, yeah.
gas.
So now you even just talk about that, right? The trucks that the lumber goes on is
Mhm.
fuel.
Everything.
That increases. The machinery to put the wood, cut the
Cut
wood
it.
down,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
cut it, to do all of these things.
Mhm.
Everything runs on oil and fuel, and like you're not going to get around that.
Right.
I can mentally, like logically, I can get there with what they're trying to do. I understand it. Okay, you're trying to do this, but
Mhm.
everything in the world revolves around the same production that we've had.
Energy. Yeah.
So if you split that, it's you can't. It's not a light switch that you can just flip on and be like, hey, now all of a sudden we're gonna go electric. You can't do that, obviously. But everybody only thinks about, like the average person only thinks about cars. They
Mhm.
only think about what affects them today. They don't think about how their
Grocery shelf.
groceries get
Yeah.
to the shelves. They don't think about how, the things get shipped from overseas. They don't think about how, like,
Yeah.
anything that gets there, and the entire production of it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
We were just talking. I was telling Chelsea, I was like, we need to try and buy like at all of our plane tickets like soon before the prices jump up, because like I'm sure you've looked, you could use you used to be able to find tickets for like maybe $100, maybe some really good deals or whatever, but like it's not out of the realm of possibility to be like a ticket across the country $1,000.
Oh,
Like
sure.
I could definitely see that, and there are tickets depending on what airline you fly on and whatever, but like $1,000, like
That's insane.
who really has that to fly their family to, whether it's
And
vacation
that's
or
for one ticket.
yeah, yeah,
That's for one ticket. So, the average American family has three and a half kids, or two and a half kids and a dog,
yeah,
like plus the two. It's not, yeah,
yeah.
no, you're talking $4,000 to
And
fly
then
across the country.
and
That's
then they say that like 2/3 of Americans don't have more than 2 months worth of savings. And then it's like, what are you to do?
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I hopefully everybody has their, contingency plans and backup plans with whatever they're going to do, and
Ammo,
how they save their money, how they invest ammo.
food reserves.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that's just the world we live in. But
Yeah.
it's everybody's talking about, Ukraine and Russia and that whole deal, and it
I feel
whether it makes sense or not, it's
I feel like it's a distraction.
oh, for sure, it's a distraction. I mean, what lost me at the very beginning, obviously everybody's like, wow, this is crazy, Russia's invading Ukraine, like this is terrible. Of course it's terrible, like you never want that to happen.
Mhm.
But then when all of these news reports were coming out and they're like, oh, these are fake, and everybody's getting up like in front of the camera talking to the entire nation, and they're like, well, even if it's fake, we still want to support the idea.
That's COVID.
What?
That's COVID.
So hold on, you're going to admit that it's fake.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that everything's fake, but
Right.
these news reports that you're admitting that Miss Ukraine was out in front of
Like an airsoft gun.
yeah, but
Yeah.
she's ready to fight. Oh, that was years ago. Oh, it's an airsoft gun. Oh, that's not actually, oh, but it's the idea, it's the picture that we're painting that we need
Yeah.
to support.
It's propaganda.
Yeah, and none of this makes sense. Then you go back to COVID, and then you go back to people collapsing on the side of the road waiting for buses and
Can't
things
find the
like that.
video.
And you can't find the video, and all of these things. And the crazy part is, when you talk to people about this, people are like, "Oh,
I
for that."
yeah. I want people to have that reaction. I feel like people, I know people think I post too much on Instagram about just like dumb things about political whatever, but it's like I hope that I can literally help one person just be like, that is weird.
Yeah,
That is weird that they would say that, or that this person would say that and then also say the opposite. Like I hope they're just like
yeah.
they start questioning things a little bit.
And that's the whole goal, right? Is just to question everything.
Yeah.
And if the questions add up and it makes sense, then great, good for you. You've questioned it.
And
But
I'll
if they
respect
don't
anyone's opinion. Yeah.
Yeah. But now, if you ask a question, it doesn't add up and you don't like the opinion, now you just get censored.
Yeah.
And that's normal.
Yeah.
Right. There's no issues with that.
Yeah. And when someone disagrees with me, I'm usually like, do you not like what I said, or do you think what I said is wrong? You know what I'm saying? It's like there's a difference.
There's a difference. Yeah, there's an absolute difference. And there's people that would still say today that, everything that's happened in the last 2 years we're better for. And we can afford the extra gas if it means not supporting
I can't.
Russia.
Yeah.
Except now we go back to everything else. It's like, oh, well, we don't want to support Russia, and we don't want to support Russia, and we don't want to support China.
Dude, you said don't support Russia and China, and literally your energy shut off.
It did. So you don't want to support Russia and you don't want to support China, but you're taking everything away from, okay, we're not gonna get all this stuff from Russia, but let's get it from Venezuela, because that's a whole lot smarter.
Yeah.
That's where we should be, and
we'll see how it works out.
and yeah, and then let's not worry about where everything's coming, over from China. Let's not worry about how the US is in debt to
We could
China
create,
and they
we
own
could
it
create
everything.
jobs. We could supply our own energy. We could be energy independent. We could, not send our money overseas. But never mind. It's all good.
But then you talk
The
to people about
environment,
that and they're like, well,
the environment.
it's just a couple bucks in gas, like that's fine.
God.
you know
Yeah. When are we going to talk about working from home and how that's like an elitist thing?
oh yeah.
I've been thinking about this for a little bit. It's like if if you work in construction, if you're blue collar, you can't work from home.
No.
You can't. So like are we, because like flashback a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever, like everyone was all about calling things, racist or oppressive or whatnot. Like, is work from home oppressive?
I mean, it is to me
Yeah.
because I'm not able to. Well, working from home is not oppressive, but the idea of it is right to me
Yeah.
because I am
Yeah.
a. I have to wake up every day and I have to go to work,
Yeah.
and I'm not allowed to stay at home. And
Yeah.
and yeah, so that's
So you
definitely
have to buy gas.
systematic
Yeah.
racism, I think, towards me.
Yeah. We should end it here.
We're gonna get cut anyway.
Yeah. All right.